guys? Today I'm going to talk about club volleyball a little bit. So first I'm going to kind of run down what the different divisions are, what the associations are, how you get to nationals, all the kind of different ins and outs, technical stuff of club volleyball. And then at the end, I'm going to talk about how club volleyball is not a recruiting solution, but it is a skill improvement tool that allows you to increase your volleyball value, which allows you to show that to coaches. So stick around if you want to hear all of this info. If the beginning stuff is kind of a review for you, feel free to skip over it. But the info that I say at the end, I feel like is something that not a lot of people are saying. So it's stuff that I want to give to you, present to you, and allow you to think about in a different way. So I wanted to do this in this view just so you get a little bit more of a visual and you can actually see the names of the divisions as they go in ranking. So the first association that I'm going to talk about is USAV. So this is just the Girls Junior National Championship. I'm not talking about the boys right now. The boys do have varying divisions and associations. So this is the girls. So for ages 11 through 18, there are technically 7 divisions, but you'll notice not every age has every division available to them. So Open is the most competitive division for ages 13 to 17. And then you have National, which is only for ages 11 through 12, which would typically tell you that that's the most competitive division for those ages. Then we go to USA, that's for ages 12 to 17, Liberty for ages 13 to 17, American 12 to 17, Freedom 14 to 17, and Patriot. Patriot is the only pay-to-play division for ages 10 to 18. So if you do not win a bid, you can pay to play in the Patriot division at the USAV Girls Junior National Tournament. So these are just a breakdown of the national qualifying divisions. I feel like some tournaments throw in some other random things in there, but these are the USAV divisions. Okay, so the next association we have is AAU. So AAU does break it down a little bit different. So they have Open at the top still. That's the highest level of competition. And they have these for all of the ages. And then they have Premier, and then they have Club, and then they have Aspire, Spirit, and Classic. I know it'd be easier if they all named them the same thing, but they're different companies. AAU and USAV are different groups, different entities, I guess you could say. So they have different things. So AAU does not have you must win a bid to go to nationals. They do have, if you win at certain tournaments, if you win a bid, your AAU tournament is paid for. You don't win a bid to AAU nationals. Anyone can pay to play at AAU nationals in any of these divisions. Whereas USAV, you can only pay to play at this Patriot division. AAU, you can pay to play at any of these divisions. And then the next association that we have is JVA. So this is similar to USAV, but they do kind of combinations of things. So they do like Open National, Liberty, American Freedom, Patriot, but I actually just took a screenshot of the AES for the 2025 JVA World Challenge. So you can kind of see like right here, they have 12 Open/Club, 13 Club/Classic. So they're essentially combining different divisions just so that they have more teams in each kind of grouping. And JVA tournaments are typically a little bit cheaper, and so they actually run like on shorter formats. They put more teams in one certain weekend than dividing them into multiple weekends. So those are kind of the reasons for those. So very similar to USAV, JVA uses most of all of USAV's rules and all of the things. However, they combine some of their divisions for tournaments like this. So hopefully that gives you a good rundown. Honestly, if you ever have questions, you could literally just search and see what the different divisions are. Like you could probably Google search like USAV Volleyball Girls National Divisions, and it would come up with something very similar to this. This is from the actual handbooks that I've read. You could actually probably search and it would come up with very similar things. And also when you go on AES, if you go on that website, you can actually find the team and you can figure out what division you are playing in if nobody's actually telling you that information. just so you know, so that you kind of know where you follow and where you fit. So also want to talk about how all of this fits into recruiting. So there's a kind of a misunderstanding or a stipulation thinking that college coaches will only look at kids that play in this open division, and that's not true at all. I have kids that go D1 that they play in Liberty, and they have D1 coaches on their court. So the division and what the team is doing does not limit the kid, because the coach is recruiting the kid, not the club team. So always keep that in mind. But you always want to strive for the best. Obviously, you want to compete against the best. If you're going to spend money and time being there, you might as well get the most out of it that you can. But all of these divisions have really high level of play, and anything can be gained from any of these divisions. I will say, if you are hoping for a club to be a recruiting resource, then that's a different conversation. I'm going to switch off of this so that I can have that conversation with you. Okay, so now that you know the breakdown of club volleyball, you know what the different associations are, divisions are, all the things, I want to talk to you about how I feel like there's been a lot of manipulation from the club world, and a lot of people are trying to use it as a scare tactic to almost make you feel like you have to do club volleyball to play in college. That's kind of big, right? So I pretty much just said that you don't have to play club volleyball to play in college. Okay, so club volleyball is a way to improve skills so that you can be your absolute best and present the best option, the best skill level to coaches, right? So there's a lot of club teams that aren't actually improving skill for these players. So I would actually just preface this. If I were to go back in time and I were to go into high school and do the recruiting process again, and with me being a mom now, and with the years that I was a former founding club director and all the things, this is what I would actually do. So I would actually find someone that is very, very high level, and they're great at coaching at a high level, and I would do private lessons with them. Okay, so I would have scheduled private lessons. I may find a high-level club team that I could be a practice player for, but I would not be on a club team that I traveled to every tournament for. I may pick up on a team to do AAU nationals, but other than that, my focus would be on practicing, getting in any scrimmage or game time in that area, possibly AAU nationals, and then going to the actual camps at the actual schools themselves. So a lot of people will argue like, oh, well, you're not going to get any court time. You're not going to get any like real life playing time. But if you'll remember, I did another video that showed research that truly shows that you're not gaining skill from playing. This skill is coming from the practice time. So I have a master's in exercise physiology. I'm research-based. There's a ton of information out there that a lot of people bypass because it doesn't make anyone money if you're not going to a tournament, right? So that is how I would do the process. I would have someone that I do private lessons with. I would maybe be on a practice team for a club. I would possibly pick up for AAU nationals, and then I would actually figure out the schools that I liked, and I would go to those camps. And the main reason behind this is not only because the skill improvement would probably be drastically higher, but also I care about these kids doing well in volleyball. I care about them succeeding in volleyball, but I care about their eternity more. And honestly, there's a faith-based perspective behind that. So I'm not condemning anyone that plays club volleyball. I'm not saying you can't play club volleyball, but I feel like there's this massive scare tactic of if you don't play club volleyball, you're not going to make it. You're not going to make your dreams happen. It's not going to work for you. When in reality, the recruiting process and the skill part of the process are two different things. There's a business side and a skill side. And club is focusing on the skill side and allowing sometimes you to go to different tournaments where a coach may be at, but not all the time, right? Whereas focusing on the actual business side, maybe working with me. So my cost actually surprised a lot of people. It's actually the same or if not lower than one club season typically costs. And I'm with you from now all the way through college. And I'm actually working on the business side, actually digging into how you can show coaches that you can add value to their team rather than just hoping that you get seen at a tournament, hoping that you cross paths with the right coach. Okay, so all that to say, I feel like there is some scare tactics that people are really pushing club, that it's the main recruiting solution, and it's not a recruiting solution at all. And I'm not down on club. I think it's fun. I think it's a great experience for some families. But I do think there are some families that get scared into going beyond their means because they think that's the only solution. And it's not the only solution. So I just want to throw that out there, maybe give you some breathing room and give you some other things to kind of think about. And also, I want to say that there are some college coaches that during their week of camp or during their few days of camp can teach you more than some of these club coaches will teach you in 5 months. So there may be different things that you need to evaluate: how you're spending money, where you're spending money. And then there's also, whenever you play a ton of tournaments, you increase the risk of injury. You're not necessarily increasing your strength and injury prevention muscles. You're just continuing an overuse pattern. So there's a lot of things to think about. And like I said, I'm not out on club at all. I do want everyone, though, to think. Don't just follow the crowd. Don't feel like if you don't, you're going to miss out. Connect with me. Reach out to me. This is what I do. I help kids that don't play club. I help kids that don't play high school. All the different things. And we work together because every individual kid's recruiting process is completely different. There are no kids that have the exact same recruiting process. So to follow advice from someone that does other sports, or to follow advice from someone that just kind of puts you in like a one kind of set pattern and that's what you have, that's all you're going to be able to get, that's really dangerous and that's really risky. And that's not actually putting your kid first. That's putting someone else first, typically the business or person that's trying to help you. Okay, so that's how I do things differently. You guys got kind of a look inside of my brain of how I approach this differently. And everything I do, honestly, is through a Christ-centered worldview because, like I said earlier, I care if they achieve their dreams. These talents and abilities and skills are gifts that they are given, and it's great for them to use those. But I also care about their eternity. So I want them to understand that they have volleyball value and they have individual value that they cannot increase or decrease no matter what they do. So if you need help in the recruiting process, I am here. I only take a few number of families every year so that I can limit how much I'm doing so that I don't overrun myself and I can actually dedicate time to you. And I have different seasons that I open these up, so you never know what season I'm in. So reach out to me. I would love to help you and your player in the recruiting journey in a different way, in a way that's not the typical standard recruiting process. So hope you enjoyed this. Hope you got a lot of information and possibly a new perspective on club. Feel free to watch any of my other videos and make sure you subscribe so that I can continue telling you a ton of information and outside the box thinking about volleyball.